Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be the second episode. I really, I should have made this the first episode, but I figured if I did, nobody would ever watch the first one. This is the king. Okay, so I've seen a lot of amps in my time. A lot of originals, a lot of restorations, a lot of customs, a lot of modifications. This one, oof. All I have to do is call it the crate, and anybody that's ever seen it knows what I'm talking about. And now you're going to be part of that club. This is the crate. I don't remember the name of the guy that made this. Some guy up in New England. We're going to leave him unnamed during this video because I don't want to rub his face in the shame that is this thing. So let's dig into it here. So this is a crate of some sort. I don't know the exact model. It's probably on the back or something. We'll get into that. My buddy said that it was having some kind of issues with the reverb or whatever. So we took it in and get it worked on just to get it repaired. And the guy at the so-called repair shop is like, well, I could add 8 switches and a whole lot of weird shit to your amp that's going to be installed like dog shit and is going to basically make it not work or be repairable at all ever by anybody. So this thing was brought to me for repair. Before I even opened it, I was like, hell no. And once I got this thing open, I should just show you. All right. So the only thing I'm really worried about here is my desk, which is not really a very good workbench. This is like a drawing table. I'm a little worried about it breaking the table, so maybe it'll do that too. That would be the most useful thing it could do in this world right now is break something. You'll see when I get in here, man. I'll keep the suspense for a little while longer. And I'll go through the features, so-called features on the front here. So we've got so these are not the power switches. And I'll get to it. There's I assume power and standby, but they're not labeled. And then there's a jewel light. There's a 1/4-inch jack, which is plastic, which I hate. And then there's some of these really shitty switches. They're kind of close to full size. They're like 3/4 size. They use the same size hole, but the switches themselves are smaller. You can see that, right? This one's like a full size, only it feels like some cheap imitation. They're probably Weber's or I don't know. It's someone else's cheap parts. Chinese for sure. Okay, so we've got 2 channels is what it looks like here, which looks pretty standard. Gain knob, bass, middle, treble, middle level. There's all these switches, and none of them are labeled. So I'm going to assume because they're in the EQ that these are just like it just moves the EQ around a little bit, basically giving you 2 choices of EQ curves for each. So, okay, great. I guess. I'm not sure what this does. Maybe it joins the channels together. I don't know what this does. Maybe it's a low and a high gain. But you could do that with 2 jacks instead of 1. You don't even need a switch. I don't know. I don't know. Not labeled. Over here we've got a depth, which who knows what the fuck depth means. I'm sorry. Depth is part of the reverb circuit. I guess he kept the reverb. Thank God. Because that was the whole point. Because my buddy's reverb wasn't working. Or it wasn't working right. I think he told me it was working. It was just a problem with it. And it was probably just poor shielding. Could have been just a little wire fix and be done. But, oh no. No, this guy had to go in there and do a bunch of other shit. So presence, and then of course a master volume, and then something called grit. Who knows? Well, we'll try and figure some of this stuff out on the inside. This might take 2 episodes. I don't know. When we get in the inside here, you guys are kind of. I just have to prepare you totally because it's gonna take a few minutes for me to take it apart, and I'm too lazy to edit these videos, so I'm just gonna do it all as one shot. So here we go. I'm going to flip it down on its face, and we're going to look at the back real quick. Oh, there's still power tubes in here. It's still all the tubes in there. That's funny. We'll go ahead and get rid of those and put them back to good use. But So, man, see, now I'm tempted to plug this in amp and actually see if it works. I never plugged it in just because, well, you'll see, when you see what I see on the inside, you would have run away in terror. And any sane person would have. So on the outside, it still looks like a crate. What is it, a model? We'll turn that around. Meh. Okay, that's a model, sorry. Hopefully it'll zoom in there. Come on, come on. There you go. VC-6112. Yeah, I don't know what any of the rest of that stuff means, but power, fuse, high voltage fuse. Oh. Stupid new phone is supposed to autofocus. Autofocus, dude. There we go. We got bias and some other, I guess he added some other tap. I don't know what that's for. Impedance select. So even the back is in stock. There's some extra pin here for something. I don't know. All right, so it's gonna take me a few seconds here to open her up. Wish I had my power drill with me. I could do it much faster, but y'all stick with me here. It'll be worth it. Let's see. First thing I'm going to do is unplug the speaker. Poor speaker. I'm sorry you ever had to deal with any of this stuff. Then, okay, that's got an attached wire, so I'll hook the reverb. And, like, even the way this guy wired the speaker plug, it's just like, whoa. What's all this stuff? Look. I got like 10 pounds of freaking shrink tubing on here. All right, let's see. So, definitely the most exciting part of the amp video, where I take out screws slowly. Actually, I should probably take the bottom ones out first so it doesn't flop on me. Oh, so first of all, I don't really like these crate amps to begin with. I mean, there's a crate mix, the Blue Voodoo, which is like, I don't know, some kind of like Mesa Boogie imitation. Maybe, I don't know. That was at least its image when it was a new amp. I mean, I'm an old guy. I remember when those things came out, or at least when they were very popular and still being sold new. I'm not exactly sure when they came out originally. Might even be an 80s thing before my time. I don't know. But look, crates, I guess they're fine for if you've got like no money and it's literally the only amp you can buy and it works. You know, it's like buying a Kia or something. You know, if it works and you really need it, then, I mean, you don't have much choice. If it's that or nothing, I mean, that's the only time I would pick a Kia or a crate. You know, they're not very well-made amps. Sorry, crate. Crates are essentially like imitation PVs. Like, the PVs are built pretty stout, but they always have really stupid design flaws, like plastic knobs or, really weird input jacks that are hard to work on and that crack solder joints and, all that good stuff that makes amps not work. I don't know. I know Crate's an American company, or they were for a while. I'm not really sure on their history. I'm just running my mouth here while I take these stupid screws out. But trust me, I'm about to whip out Mandingo on y'all. As far as like the shittiness. I want you to prepare yourself. Like, get yourself all lubed up. Make sure you've had a nice, like a Valium or something. Make sure you're, maybe you need to get a muscle relaxer. I mean, I'm telling you, this is going to hurt. Like, this is going to split you in two. Holy shit. All right. Well, I'm going to put the phone down for just a second so I can lift the amp out of the box. I don't think I can do it with one hand. I don't want to ruin the speaker. The speaker's actually, the speaker's done nothing wrong. So I don't want it to hurt. It's already seen enough. All right, hang on. God, it's so heavy. It's ridiculously heavy. All right, y'all. Hope you're ready for this shit. Okay. Deep breath. Here it comes. Up. Yeah. Yeah, right? Holy shit. Yeah. Oh, no, it gets better. It gets better. I don't want to block the light too much here, but look at this thing. Like, it's like some people think they're geniuses and they read a bunch of articles and they go through magazines and they surf the web and they get all these ideas and they fill their brains with all this what, the answer to the question what. Ooh, what? Oh, that's a switcher. Oh, what's that? What does that do? But they never ever ever are smart enough to ask why. Like, why that do? Why put this together with that? Why stop at hot glue on a circuit board? Why? Why stop? Why add? Why add relays and Vactrols and grit circuits? And I mean, look at this thing, dude. Somebody spent a lot of fucking time on this. And it's dog shit. All of it. I mean, the soldering is just bad. The layout is just bad. The ideas are just like it's like an evil like leader of a country that like no one's willing to like tell him that he's evil. This is some evil shit here, guys. So, all right, I guess I'll try to be like, I'll try to go through this whole thing and try to figure out what the fuck he's got going on. All right. Oh, God. Yeah. So when my buddy brought this to me, he was really upset. He was like, I didn't ask this guy to do shit. I show up and he wants me to pay for all these fucking mods that he did. And my buddy, he's a really nice guy, and I guess he wanted to help support this guy or whatever. Anyway, he should have never given this guy a penny. He should have just been like, dude, replace my amp. And if he knew enough and could have looked inside it, from the outside it looked okay. And I guess at some point it did work. It probably would still work now if there wasn't like some cold solder joint somewhere in there that's leading to have it, not work right. So, I mean, I'll do it sometimes. Sometimes I'll wire a part directly to another part. But when I do it, I'll create two hooks and I'll crimp them together so that it's a nice tight connection. Then I'll solder them. Then I'll cover them with some shrink tubing. I don't like to do it. Sometimes you have to do it. And, if it's in a part of the circuit that's not going to move around or whatever, or not going to have, a lot of traffic, like if repair people aren't going to be near it or fuck around with it, it's not that big a deal. On an input jack, I really hate doing it because that gets a lot of traffic. There's lots of stuff going on here. Stuff poking around. Look at this. So he missed the opportunity to have a nice chassis ground with a metal input jack because he's got this bar thing going on. I'm not exactly sure where he's got it. I mean, I'll figure it out. I'm not exactly sure where he's got it chassis grounded to because this is floating. Unless it's one of those plastic jacks that's got a little pin in the front that actually digs into the plastic. That might be the case. But if you're going to do that, why not just use a metal jack? Fucking switchcraft, baby. Switchcraft, baby. Or if you have to, a Neutrik imitation switchcraft. All right, the switch here is not hooked up to anything. Look at that. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. I had a bad look at it. Okay, it is. It's some kind of... it is some kind of impedance thing. Yeah. So he could have just done that with two separate jacks. Okay. And then he might have had enough real estate to have extra pins to wire all this stupid shit to. He's got a roll-off cap here, it looks like, and then those connect to the wiring, but then that goes back to another cap, some blocker for the input. I don't understand. And then, yeah, well, it's like he doesn't even understand how these circuits work. Okay, so that's the input. And oh, he's got that with shielded cable. That's good. See, this guy is just smart enough to be a self-proclaimed genius. Oh, but man, the work is just so awful. Like, oh, like it just looks like a first grader learned how to work on tubes. Maybe not a first grader. I mean, I'm being a little too mean now, but God, it's too complicated. Like, what's with these bus bars? You know, like, that means I can't get to anything. Like, well, how am I supposed to service this? How am I supposed to, like, get lube in the pots, you know, after 10 years and then everything gets crackly? You know, this guy, there's no planning for the future at all here. And when he built it, look, he left the circuit board in and then just hacked this one on top of it. I mean, who does that? Like, now I can't get to anything underneath. Like, I would have to uninstall most of this amp just to get to some of these things to repair them. Like, it is just absolutely... all right, sorry. Back to a nice, orderly set of directions here. I don't know where to go now, guys. This is scary. I mean, look at this thing. Look at all these wires. Look at all these wires. Look at these bus bars. Where does this go? Where does that go? Now, here's the worst part. I was saving this. Just for fun, I had my friend contact the guy that did this and ask for a schematic. You would have thought he asked for his firstborn. He acted like, schematic? Well, that's my work. That's my work of art. If I share it with you, then you're going to just rip me off. He acted like my friend was going to, like, steal his ideas or something. Like, seriously. Gave him a really hard time. Wouldn't give him a schematic. Even though, remember what I said? My buddy never even asked for this. What is... fucking jack? But it's all hardwired? Look at the wiring on this. They're all wired together for this foot switch. No longer foot switches. The fuck? Why would you do that? Look, there's all this excess wiring, and they're all just shorted together. Can you see that? Hang on. God, the idiocy that just... it's monumental on this thing. Ah. Hang on. I gotta get some better lighting here, guys. Maybe I can get it too. Huh? That's the best I'm gonna get. Well, I'm sorry, guys, but I think you can see enough here where all 3 pins are wired together, and then they're jumpered over, and then all 3 pins are wired together. So the switching pins and the signal pins are all wired as one, and they're all together. So the switch. So now, oh, and that's what this is. This is a manual override for the foot switch. Now that doesn't work, and that doesn't work. And wherever it's going is just shorted together. I'm dumbfounded. I wonder if that's the problem. I wonder if that's why it's not working. I mean, everything else has been stupid, but that's the first thing I've seen that's actually broken. Okay. So, okay. That's what I thought it was. And I'm sorry I'm jumping around here, guys. This thing is such a chaotic thing everywhere I look. I'm like, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. I don't want to forget. So, you know how there's the 2 red pins on the outside? Well, first of all, look at the wiring there. It's just loose, just hanging out. They just wired one piece to another. I guess the way it is, oh, did this originally come like that? That isn't factory. It can't be factory. I see. So this thing originally had its own bias circuit, but I guess he didn't like that bias circuit. So maybe he turned it into a balance circuit. But he's only got 1 pot, and the pot is glued to the board. Oh, it's insane! Glued to the board. Oh man, I hope I'm not messing up any of these tubes. They're probably dog shit anyway. Like, I wonder what tubes this guy stuffed in here in his custom amp. I mean, I can already tell. Oh, I got some JJ's, not too bad power tubes. So this is a 2EL34 amp. That's pretty neat. So once I've properly documented this abomination, I figure this video will be like a museum, uh, the closest thing to it being put in a museum. I mean, maybe I'll keep it. I mean, I'm not. It's definitely way down on the list because I'm not like hungry to save the crate iron out of this. But one of these days, I'll gut this thing and rebuild a proper amp with no switching, just a nice little 2-channel EL34 output power amp. And I'll just, I'll even lose all the stupid original crate shit. Forget the whole PCB concept. Just reuse the chassis and the transformers. And yeah, I'll even throw away the pots and the switches and wind up with a bunch of unused holes. I mean, you know how much I hate to waste unused holes, but sometimes you got to, All right, so hot glue everywhere. I guess maybe PV or oh, look at that. I think he he like took a cap out and wired directly to it and then hot glued the wire so it wouldn't pull out, because that works. Then there's hot glue just added to shit for no good reason. Hot glue on hardware. Oh my god. What an idiot. I hate hot glue. If you have to hot glue something, you didn't build it right. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. These things are designed to mount. These things are designed to like coexist. I've never seen a part that said, oh, after you install, be sure to add hot fucking glue. Nope. Never seen that. So, yeah, trim pot. I'm like, what are the trim pots? Like, he doesn't provide a schematic or instructions. He doesn't tell you where the trim pot should be set. He's got another trim pot over here. You probably saw that earlier. But then there's another trim pot here, and then there's this bias or balance or whatever thing going on here. It's just a nightmare. This whole thing. Hot glue. You know, it's funny. Maybe he thought hot glue was okay because Crate used hot glue. But, man, this thing is something else. So what is it? The model, I already forgot. Crate VC-6112. So I'm going to guess it's a 60 amp, 112 amp. All right. Was it VC or UC? VC. The most famous VC-6112 on the internet. Soon to be. Hope you enjoyed this. Holy fuck. What? I thought I turned you off. Damn it. Okay. Well, actually, I'm kind of glad that you get a little bonus footage here. As soon as I thought I turned it off, I was like, oh my god. People have to see this. Look. He's put a little transformer or inductor or something. He's mounted it. He mounted it properly? I don't know how he mounted it. He mounted it to this pot. And it's wired to it somehow, and I don't know why. What is that? That's the depth. Oh, for the reverb. Did he make the reverb solid state? Because that is a tiny transformer. That ain't driving no tube, is it? Is Crate really that cheap? I mean, if it's a solid state circuit, that's actually kind of cool. If it's a tube circuit, that thing is... Whew. Maybe that's an original Crate thing. I don't know. It looks like he added that. And I think these are Vactrols. They could be. They could also be relays. I don't know, because they're not labeled. And then these are definitely Vactrol. Well, I mean, these are definitely relays of some switching type. God, and there's hot glue on that. The wiring is just so bad. And the part selection is just so fucking random. Like, this is to somebody's parts drawer, just barfed on this amp. Oh, I mean, it's a crate, so what? God, there's just so much. It's just endless. There's endless things done to this. All this wiring. Good night, sweet, ugly, ugly, ugly prince.